Hey everyone, it's Barbara Hayward here, of course, from the Old Girl Spiritual Stuff, as you know. Today we have an amazing lady who comes from upstate New York. I had to write that down. And her name is Reverend Sheila Tillich. And Sheila is going to be one of the guest speakers at the New Era of Global Healing summit that is coming up next month. And as you know, I've been interviewing incredible speakers. And today is Sheila is equally as incredible. Her topic, her conversation for the summit, and I'll talk a little bit about the summit towards the end, how you can register and why you should register and things like that. Sheila's topic is the new human frequency. Explaining the crystalline cellular structure, which started to come in a while ago, but it is really full on now. And this is all part of taking us into global peace and the areas that we really are praying and hoping for. But as I've often said, the last stages of labour of having a baby is a bit yucky and it's a bit pooey and it hurts a little bit and you've got to breathe deeply and you've got to cry out and then you're handed a brand new baby. And that's where we are at the moment. And the baby is the world peace and we're heading towards that. So thank you, Sheila, for joining me today. And thank you so much for being part of the summit. And thank you for sharing your amazing knowledge with us today. So I'm just going to leave it open to you to explain your conversation that you'll be having and whatever else that you would like to share with us. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Barbara. I'm so happy to be here and I can't wait for the summit.
Mm.
So wonderful. So I am Reverend Sheila Tillich, and I am a Galactic Grandmother channel. And so my whole services that I do is about allowing you to stand in your power. And this time of humanity is huge because there's a big spiritual evolution happening. So a lot of times we call it revolution, but it's who we really are as divine beings. So we came here on Earth to experience Earth as humans, but we're really souls. So as a metaphysician, my actual role is to help you stand in your power. And what does that mean? So many new things are happening now, and our human frequency is changing.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's changing is because we are tapping into the higher consciousness energy of the divine. And what does that mean? It means we are starting to use our higher abilities of connection with the divine, connection with your soul source, whatever you choose to call it. And it has to do with multidimensional frequency in your DNA, what you have in your body, and what has become awakened right now. So we are going through a great transition in humanity. Things are changing, evolving, but also the actual frequency of the earth is changing. The
Mhm.
frequency in the earth is changing in Mother Earth down below with all the Schumann's resonance, which is the frequency of the heartbeat of the earth. In other words, how everything works with Mother Nature, how we work with the different weathers, the different changes of the seasons, and it has to do with the magnetic field above us and how it affects us. So, galactically, we are galactic beings, and that's why I'm called the Galactic Grandmother. But there's so much more to understanding what this spiritual evolution is all about. My role is to help you understand it and then also tap into it. And you tap into your own abilities, your own spiritual abilities. So many of us are experiencing all these changes of energies in our physical bodies. And we call them ascension symptoms. And what they are actually doing is that as this evolution continues and as the frequency on Mother Earth is changing, along with the magnetic field above us, it is doing beautiful things to our bodies. However, our bodies don't know how to handle it. So
Yeah.
that's where the ascension symptoms come into play. And our bodies are electromagnetic fields. They're a machine. Our heart beats. It has the heartbeat where you have your EKG. You can see how your heart beats. Well, it supplies energy to the whole body, all the
Yeah.
systems, every cell of your body. And what has been happening is that as our bodies are changing, we are opening to a higher consciousness, meaning our ability. So a lot of people have heard about the shift of consciousness or the ascension time. And what that means is that we are ascending to the higher knowing, the higher clarity, and for us to be able to heal ourselves and heal others. So many of us are healers, and that's what I am. I'm an energy healer, energy practitioner, and I practice energy medicine. So what is happening right now is that the geomagnetic actual earth storms, all right, they are changing our dimensions of reality.
Right.
So many, yeah, dimensions of reality is changing. And what is happening is our physical bodies that are actually crystalline bodies. And a lot of people say, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Crystalline is the molecules that make up our bodies and the minerals and the vitamins and everything that makes us
Okay.
up. But Mother Earth is the key right there because we walk as humans, as human bodies on the ground of Mother Earth, and she supplies us with, first of all, the food that we eat. All right. So the nourishment that we have. She supplies the water that we drink. She supplies the heat, all right, from the volcanoes underneath the earth. That's where the grid is, the crystalline grid, and all the activities that are happening that makes the weather patterns and everything that's happening. And then we have
Interesting.
the
If I
air.
could just pop in here, that is
Yes.
so interesting because I live in New Zealand, as you know, out there, and I
Yes.
think we are the earthquake country of the world. But hubby was saying a couple of weeks ago that, so I think we were about 6 weeks in, we had something like 400 small earthquakes already. So, and when you look at last year, we had those massive earthquakes up around Russia and all up, and we're connected to that ring of fire area there. So interesting you talk about the volcanoes and the crystalline grid that's running through it. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, there's so much to it. We are connected underneath the earth by the roots, all right?
Mm,
We're all connected by the energy that's
yeah,
happening, but also when we have earthquakes and we have tsunamis and
yeah,
everything that's happening, we're all connected.
yes, yeah,
And it has to do with the weather and the magnetic field that's coming in and how it affects the earth and our bodies. So you live in the southern hemisphere and I live in the northern hemisphere. So our seasons are different, but also it has to do with the way that the magnetic grid is affecting each and every one
mm,
of us and how our bodies resonate with it. So when we actually are going through this shift of consciousness, we are opening up a whole new reality dimension in our physical bodies. So we're not only 3D. So 3D is the physical body you can see, you can feel, all
yeah,
right? And what is happening is that we are shifting into a different dimension of a higher knowing, feeling, seeing, and communicating.
yeah,
And Mother Earth is the connection there because we are beings living as a human body
yeah,
on Mother Gaia, all
yeah,
right? But our thoughts and our consciousness is energy, And energy is what we think, what we feel,
Mm.
how we live. So the energy field around us affects everything. And it is affecting every single one of us as humanity is changing. We are evolving. And many people are still in the old frequency. In other
Yeah.
words, the way things always have been.
Yeah.
As we are changing, people aren't liking it and
Mm.
people are loving it. So we have both going on. The ones that are loving it are just radiating with this beautiful energy that's coming through, is because it is in us. Our energy is in us. And the ones that are having a hard time are living still in the lower frequency, which is the fear, the anger, the resentment, all the things that get stuck in our electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
And so our energy is from our physical, our emotional, our mental, and our spiritual
Mm.
field around us.
Yeah.
And as each of us are awakening, it is changing our own field around us.
Yeah.
And as we heal, it expands out more of higher frequency of
Mm.
love and compassion. And then when we are very angry or upset or resentful or have old, I call them issues in our tissues, that's energy
Yep. Yep.
blockages.
Yep. Yep.
It's energy blockages. And it gets stuck and our body doesn't know what to do with it. All right.
Mm.
And a lot of times people stay stuck because they don't know any different. And they
Yeah.
live in the fear of doing different. So
Yeah.
nothing changes. And it has to do with the programming that we were brought up with and
Exactly.
our behaviors and our patterns, how we live life.
And
Now,
having said that, it's not just our patterns, but I'm an Australian lady and I spent the first 38 years in Australia. And since then, I've spent the rest of my time between New Zealand and Australia and living in both countries. And it's not just what we were raised with, but it's what our local governments show us. It's what our national governments, it's what the overall governments that brings all this energy into us as well. So we're
oh
not
yeah,
just
well,
combating our own personal upbringing, but all the other controls and energies that have limited us in the past. So that is
yeah,
really interesting. Thank
oh
you for
yeah, oh
bringing
yeah.
that up.
That's right. And that's part of the spiritual evolution.
Yeah.
And, some of us wake up earlier, some of us don't at all.
Mhm.
And I've always been able to communicate with angels and had that frequency in me. And I'm also hard of hearing. But it was used to help me grow as a human, go through all that programming, and then, well, that doesn't resonate with me anymore. I have changed. And that's where the awakening comes into play. That is the shift of consciousness, which is thinking. And what you think is what you project out. So if you're thinking anger and fear and stuck and all this stuff that is happening changes, oh my, then you're stuck in that energy, which is a low frequency. And now what is happening is that astrology and how the plants line up, it all has to do with this time that we're in.
Yeah.
This is a time of ascension, which means we are growing to a higher spiritual frequency.
Yeah.
And it is affecting our physical, emotional, mental bodies.
Yeah.
That is the cellular structure that is getting changed. So, how this happens is because our bodies are machines and we're 3D, we have a heart that pumps everything, into all the other organs to make us to live.
Yeah.
And exactly. And when the magnetic field above us is changing with the universal changes, everything that's happening with astrology during the time of the year, all right, things are affecting our physical bodies and it is recalibrating into a different reality, which means we have experienced, especially in the last 5, 6 years, all right, a change. And there's a whole reason for that, where we have energy portals around the earth who have opened up. They completely opened now since 2019, from 2012 to 2019. And that's a whole nother subject. But since 2020, the actual energy in the consciousness field, mean everything that's happening on the earth, the politics, the
Yeah.
countries, the
Yeah.
the weather cycle, everything is changing, and it is
Mm.
affecting our cellular fields of how
Yeah.
we react with each other, how we live our lives or don't live our lives.
Yeah.
And that's where we stay stuck. And that's where the energy part comes in as healers, helping people with stress, with trauma,
Mm.
with relationships, with job situations. You know, you're not happy in your life. And a lot of people don't want to change because of the fear. So
Yeah.
you're dealing with a lower frequency at the same time as a higher frequency.
Yeah.
Your body's saying, you know I can't live like this, but I'm stuck, so I don't change.
Yeah.
And so we have all these things happening. As healers, we have different ways of helping
Mm.
besides modern medicine with the chemicals. We
Yeah.
go back to nature. We go
Yeah.
back to how it was in the beginning, and that's where Mother Gaia comes into play.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tie in the geomagnetic storms that we are having,
And we're
what they
having so
are,
many. We're having so
and
many of them.
that is because of the change that's happening right now.
You
It is
know,
wonderful,
and
and it is scary.
absolutely. And what I've just got in my mind, a picture that I've just been given, is these, and it's all symbolic, but these electrical storms from the sun that are coming in, and that is really about burning off the old ways. It's because fire
Well,
burns, and it's burning off the old ways, so that because I remember in Melbourne a long time ago, there was a massive, massive bushfire, and going down towards the Great Ocean Road where my parents live, and I must have driven about 6 months after. It was devastation, pure devastation, lives, houses, the lot. And then these burnt trees had all these beautiful green, vivid green leaves and branches coming out of it. And so we've been this, even the sun is helping us shift. Even the sun is helping us shift. It's burning off so that the new buds are coming through, the new growth. Wow,
exactly, exactly,
that is
exactly.
so exciting.
Yeah. So what is happening now with those geomagnetic storms that are happening? And a lot of people they really don't understand what they are.
Mm,
It is the magnetic field that is changing and the energy that's coming off from the sun.
right.
So we have the sun. So as the earth continues to evolve and we change in this frequency of knowing, higher dimensional knowing, it is doing changes in our physical bodies. So the physiological part of our body is how we're made up as humans, how we get our nourishments, how we stay healthy. And these changes that are coming from the sun now are actually flares of plasma energy that affect the actual magnetic field of the earth. And when it comes in, we take in all those higher plasma changes that is happening, and it is actually opening up our dimensional spiritual DNA that you haven't been able to see till now.
Mm,
It's there. And that is where the dimensional higher consciousness is, our
right.
knowing, our abilities, and that's what's happening. So as these come in and they get stronger and stronger, what is happening to our bodies is our bodies is in the DNA is 23 chromosomes.
Mm,
All right. We have 23 chromosomes, but really we have 24.
yeah.
And the 24th is the dimensional part.
Right.
And as these dimensional flares come in, they're called light codes. Light codes is the higher consciousness frequency that is connecting to our physical DNA that we have. And I want you to think of back in biology, early biology, and around every cell, there's a mitochondria. Mitochondria is the energy source, it's the power horse of how all your cells work. And as these flares come in, which bring the plasma in, which changes the magnetic field in the when it comes in the air. All right. So they come into the air, we breathe it in, and it starts to change the actual cellular structure of our human body, the mitochondria.
Oh,
And yeah, and of course, because these magnetic flares are coming in, it's affecting the food on the earth that we eat. All right.
yeah.
And it affects our emotions, how we're relating to people, how we automatically can see something and then go right into the negative fear or the lower frequency.
Well, I'm just saying
I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
this is amazing. I just want to say to you out there, this is this is the conversation that you will be getting when you come and join us for the summit. The summit is so important. It's called the New Era of Global Healing. And Reverend Sheila is going to be talking even more in depth on this subject, which is incredibly fascinating. And what I love about this subject with Sheila and with you, Sheila, is that it's got scientific aspects to it. Because
Oh,
as much as I've got the nurturing, I've got this real scientific part of me that needs to be fed. And if you come to the link, I'll put a link above this. Come and join us. Register now. It will come up as a membership. It's not a membership. It's a registration, and it's absolutely free. Now, it is from March the 17th to the 19th, and for Australia and New Zealand, it's March the 20th to, the 18th to the 20th. What day will you be talking on, Sheila?
I will be opening with Nina. I will be the
Oh,
first one at 8 o'clock Eastern time, my time.
Eastern time. So Sheila will be
17th.
on the first day, which is the 17th for the majority of you out there. Now, I'm also going to put this up on my YouTube, and there will be a link. If you want to contact Sheila personally, you're more than welcome to go and contact Sheila and come and join us. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and I'm not kidding, hundreds and hundreds and more already registered, already waiting in the waiting room.
Yes.
Reverend Sheila, thank you so much for today. I'm going to be watching yours. I'm actually going to register myself, even though I'm talking. I'm going to register so that I get to see all the speakers, because there's just such a wealth of knowledge, of such diversity of knowledge. And thank you so much for coming and joining us today. And thank you for sharing your immense awareness and your immense knowledge. And it was such a great uh, um, understanding of on the cellular and how the earth and the sun and the volcanoes and the crystalline, everything all marries together. So
Yes.
until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye now.
Bye.